Hello and welcome to the Backstage Pass. It's Thursday, which means it's time to stamp. And it's one of my favorite days of the week because I get to chat with you guys. It always makes the day a little bit fulfilled, if that makes any sense. All right, so I'm going to chat for just a little bit while I'm waiting for people to pop on. And first, I have some really cool announcements. We always have announcements, but I've got even more than normal. All right, Jacqueline is on, and several others. There's 5 of you. Okay, so there's my cue. When I see those numbers start popping up in the upper left corner here, that's when I can start officially with good Thursday morning and welcome to the Backstage Pass. Today's class is Technique Time. My favorite class of the month, the biggest class of the month. And you know me, my style is artfully avid, so I'm definitely gonna like the big class, right? So today's class is all about the Changing Leaves bundle. And we're gonna go from kind of a late summer into fall into winter. We're gonna change the leaves up as we go today. All of those of you who are on, Karen, Jacqueline, I'm not quite sure who else, hello, and thank you so much for popping on. All right, first announcement. People have been wondering how to find past Facebook Live classes. Don't think of it as a video. Think of it as an event because that's how they're set up. They're set up in the events. So if you're ever looking for something, go to the events. If you're looking for something coming up, those will be listed because those are coming. And then at the bottom, if you click see more, you can see past events. That's how you can find the Facebook Lives under events, not videos, but events. So hopefully that will help you. So hopefully Rose Carey has popped on. I tagged her because she wasn't quite sure where it was. So I went to the event and tagged her right before I turned on today because I had just seen her question about that. So that's that. She's not alone. Others have asked. Okay. Another big announcement. Mark your calendars. October, instead of October's Technique Time, we're going to take that last week of October. I'm not quite sure on the date, but that last week of October, we are going to have something I've never done before, and that is a mini Studio Ink Spots. So it'll be a Friday night and Saturday, and we will have a day of, this is actually Studio Ink Spots not Stamp a Stack a Stamp. I can't even speak. It's a Santa Stampin' event, okay? So I think it's September Santa Stampin'. I don't remember what I named. No, it's not September because it's October. October, the end of October. And we are going to feature a little bit of festive stuff. So we're going to have some fun with that. Look for the details. Those details will be coming out the beginning of September when I can show pictures from the new holiday September, December catalog. So that's why I'm waiting for that date to share it with you. But I wanted you to know that there's a mini Studio Ink Spots in the works just for you. All right. Hello, Jennifer Newsom. There's another name. So say hello. Let me know if you're here. Kat is watching. Awesome. Because I'm not quite sure if the comments are working just yet. Okay. Enough blabbity blah, blah, blah. Let me turn the camera and I'll give you September's classes and then we're going to stamp in real time. In other words, I have not done any of the die cutting. There's one thing that I did just so that it would have dried in time. Other than that, everything is in real time. So here we go. Here comes the hand. I know it's your favorite part, studying my right hand, right? Okay, there's the ceiling. See if we can switch this. There's the desk. Tighten this all up. So you've seen the cards. And like I say, we're going to go from late summer to fall to winter. All right. So let me move these aside. We'll get to those in just a minute. I'm trying to decide what to do with this light here because I need my glass mat today. So anyhow, but it puts a nice harsh spot right there. Okay, sorry. Host code. If you're using this host code, you can earn next month's Sophisticated Sled class for free with a $50 purchase. All right. So with a $50 purchase, you can earn that class. With a $75, you can earn this class and October's Use It Up. So keep that in mind. Next week, excuse me, I'm going to upstyle the Time for Cake paper pumpkin kit. And I'll give you a close look at my big birthday card and the birthday banner. So that is next week. This is not in the Backstage Pass. This will actually be in my the public page. So Seeing Ink Spots, that class is always over there. But notice that it's on a Wednesday. So it'll be Wednesday instead of Thursday. I'm leaving town for a wedding. So that's why. Okay. September's Use It Up class is going to be the Iconic Imagery Suite Collection. So we're going to be using, let's see if I have a kit here. I think I took them out because they were in my way. I don't have the kit, but you've got all the papers from the Iconic Imagery Suite, some of the ribbon, and the gems that are in that suite collection. So we're going to take a look at this and make some different things, and we'll kind of work through fall and Christmas and even into Valentine's. So that's where we're headed with that class. I know you're thinking, Valentine's? It's August. What is she talking about? But that's kind of where this this particular stamp set, I'll show how, how it just kind of moves right through the fall and the winter months for holidays. Okay, there's that. And then the pickup class this time is going to not be a stamp set or dies. It's going to be designer series paper. So I'm going to take a closer look at the Thoughtful Journey designer series paper, and I'll probably pull out some leaves and trees and those sorts of things. So it doesn't really matter what stamps and dies. It's just kind of all about some designer series paper. And I don't know if you've checked out this paper or not, but it is really, really cool. So that's coming up. And then the granddaddy of September, the big class of the month, will be Sophisticated Sled. And you guys, I am totally jonesing to get this busted open and get working on this class, because first off, I love vintage things. So this kind of vintage sled, ice skates, it has it all. Join me in September. Don't miss out on the fun. All right, so let me just set these things aside, get them out of the way so that we can begin today's class. And we're going to start with this card here. And let me show you how this card works. This is it's a fold back or a latch card, either one. But this one, so we've done the pattern where we cut off an inch and score an inch on the ends of our cards. And then you kind of have a latch back. It folds back. Well, I've redesigned it, and I redesigned it last week. I kind of redid it. I should have brought that card to show you, but I've kind of upscaled the fold here. So this one's going to go this way. All right. But I want to share with you how I actually put this one together. So there's no score and cut off. Okay. That way, this doesn't have any raw edges, and it's kind of nice. So grab your kit. Here's your kit. And let's see what's inside your kit here. I'm just going to pull everything out of the bag for now. Okay. There's your smalls bag. We're going to be using that. And so for this first card here, we're going to grab everything from Old Olive up. Okay. From Old Olive up. And then in the back of your papers here, notice I didn't do designer series paper this time. I did some specialty papers instead. So the specialty papers, and yours are a full sheet. I'm just using up what was in the kit that I used to design with. Okay. So you're going to need the green one for this card. So this is an online exclusive, this paper right here. And it's Berry Burst, Whisper White, and Old Olive. And it comes as a pack, a 3-pack of 12 by 12. And like I say, it's an online exclusive. So we're going to use the green for this card. And then also in your packet, you have a piece of the wood textured specialty paper. This is in the annual catalog. And it's rather interesting. And your piece is it actually does not look like this. This one is wrong. Let me show you. Yours in your packet actually looks like this. And you're saying, well, what's the difference between the two? So let me show you exactly how this technique is going to work. Let me kind of put this stack away. We'll come back to that. Keep your smalls bag nearby. So the technique that we're going to do here is we're going to be brayering our wood textured paper. And I want the wood texture to show up in the brayering. And so that's why I've actually debossed the leaves. So in this one here, I did it wrong. I embossed it with the embossing folder. Let me grab the embossing folder here. So this is the fall leaf, or leaf fall. That's the name of it. It's the leaf fall embossing folder. It's kind of hard to see. There we go. And here's the logo side. And so this is, you can see that's exactly what I did with this piece. And then I went, oh, I did it wrong. For this technique, it's important that you deboss. And so the reason you need to deboss is because the back side of this is not textured. It's only textured on one side. So to do that, here's what you're going to do. You're going to take your paper, and I've already embossed yours, but for those of you who have made your own kit, I didn't, because obviously you didn't get the kit. So this piece here, I'm going to flip it upside down. Okay, so put it in upside down and come all the way over to the edge. Okay, and yes, you're going to have a little sliver hanging out on this other side, but that's okay. And I want you to deboss the leaf fall print. All right, so it's important you flip your wood textured specialty paper upside down. All right, your sandwich for this, I'm trying to do two things at once, talk to you, is going to be plate number 2, your folder with the folded edge going first, and plate number 4. So that's what I'm going to send through my Stampin' Up emboss machine. Oops, I have done it wrong. Plate number 1. Don't put plate number 2 in there. I'm like, this is way too thick. Okay, redo. So plate number 1, your folder, and 4. Okay. I thought, why isn't this going through? Okay, here it comes, folks. So now that is how you want to do it. So that's how it is, but we actually want to use this side. So that's exactly what I did. I debossed the image, okay? So let's count the techniques today that we're going to include in class. Okay, so that's 1. We're debossing. Embossing the other direction, right? All right, let me just put my plates and everything back together before I have a total mess. So that's the first thing we're going to do. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in some scratch paper here. And the colors of ink pads for this particular card are going to be Bubble Bath, Boho Blue, and Old Olive, okay? So those are our colors. So with the Bubble Bath, I'm going to ink up my Stampin' Brayer, okay? So now with the brayer here, we did have a Studio Ink Spots where we focused on this brayer. So we're going to kind of do a little bit from that class. But what I want you to do is you work with the prongs. See these prongs? Work with them up, okay? And then when the beauty of these prongs is when you go to set it down, you can use those prongs so that your brayer isn't touching your work surface, right? But I want them up when I'm inking because I don't want to accidentally gouge my ink pad, okay? So prongs up. We should call those the stands. Now, notice I am inking up in one direction. Okay? Get it nice and inked up. And then with a light hand, I'm going to brayer in one direction. And I'm just kind of crossing over. And then that side there, see how I've got some low spots? I can kind of keep working it or just embrace that some of them don't get quite as heavily brayered. All right, so I can come in here, try and pick these up a little bit, turn my paper. Okay, I can turn my paper again. Just a little bit more ink. Let me kind of bring it up so you can see. Yes, I will kind of cover this side a little bit more. But what we're going to end up having is we're going to cut this down to be 4 by 5.5 or 4 1/4 by 5.5. So that's why I'm kind of focusing on the one side. Okay, ink that up. And I'm going to kind of brayer this direction. Okay. And yes, I left this side a little light. That was intentional. We're going to be using this scrap in our next project. Okay, I'm done with my brayer for this card. And what I'd like to do now is to take my boho blue and my old olive marker, Stampin' Blends here. And I'm going to splatter, but I'm not going to splatter the whole thing. The first thing I want to do is I am going to trim this down. Let me just kind of rotate. So I want this to be 4 1/4, okay, by 5.5. Okay, so just pick the angle you like best. So there's that. And then save this, put this in your stack. That's going to be for card number 2. Now with this, I'm going to come in and I'm going to splatter knock old olive and boho blue. And it just kind of helps to add a little bit more dimension. So let's see. We did debossing, we did some brayering, we did some splattering. So that's 3 techniques right there. But this is really cool, you guys. I like this debossing and then brayering technique. So I want to point out for just a second, I'm going to just kind of go to the artisan design team. Mahaswari did a tip a couple weeks ago where she did double embossing. So she embossed a piece and then she embossed the piece again with the debossing so that she could brayer. So thank you, Mahaswari, for this cool technique. I just happened to use the specialty paper, but it does work. Go back and see her tip in Tuesday Tips. It's a bright red card. It's really, really cool. Okay, so that is ready. Let's see. What's next on this card? Let's just bring this into a position here. And this as well, our stack of stuff. Let's do some prep work for things that we're going to need. I'm going to need, we've got another technique here. So our balmy blue piece, okay? You're gonna grab your balmy blue piece of cardstock and bring your brayer back. See, I said we were done with the brayer? Psh, I lied. I'm good at that, right? Okay, in your smalls bag. So in your smalls bag, there is some twine, and yours will either be lemon lolly or it will be calypso coral. There is another piece of lemon lolly that is rolled up inside the linen thread. Okay, that's a short piece. This is 2 yards right here of lemon lolly. So you can use what's in your kit, or if you have a thread or a twine that you're like, I just never use that color, then this is what you're going to want to use, because we're going to use this for a technique. We're going to tie it around our brayer here. Okay, I shouldn't have rolled it doubled like that. I have a mess. Well, maybe we'll just tie the mess right onto the, oh boy, you guys. This is embarrassing. And I don't have any other twine here. Usually I have twine here with me. Okay, let's see. It might be faster for me to run, go get more twine than to untie my knot. Oh, note to self, don't tie it up like that. What I did is I wound it around my fingers in your kit. I doubled it up. Here I thought I was making it nice and tidy and neat, and I blew it. Okay. All right, well, while we're sitting here watching me untie this tangled mess, what is new? So thinking of Laura Holt right now, have you gone back to school? I think she probably has. Okay, so now with this nice long piece that I finally unknotted, I'll finish that conversation, or not finish, but just, you know, have people gone back to class? What's up with people? What you been doing? Okay, so I'm just taking this and I'm running this around my brayer, and I'm going to tie this in a knot. Okay. Okay. And then I will clip these little ends off. Of course, it really wouldn't matter, but I'm going to clip them off just because. All right, there's that. And now with Balmy Blue is going to be my first color choice here. And I'm going to ink up with the Balmy Blue with all of my thread tied around my brayer here. Okay, prongs up, same direction. Okay, and now I'm going to offload in the same direction. And I'm just going to kind of fill this piece with all these crisscross lines. Let's see if you can see those. They're faint. I don't want them to be like too in your face, okay? Let's do a few more. Because I did some where they were darker and heavier, and I'm like, I just didn't like it. And so I went with the more subtle, and I liked the more subtle much better. Okay, so that is it for the Balmy Blue. Okay, and now I'm going to switch to Old Olive. And I'm okay. The Old Olive is a much darker color than the Balmy Blue. Plus, we've really kind of, let's just get this offloaded nicely. All right, so into the Old Olive. And then I'm going to give a light hand on this because I don't want it too dark. But to me, this was just kind of, you know, similar to the veining and things that leaves had. So this is kind of my thought process on that. But there it is. Technique number 4. Okay. What this reminds me of, do you remember the marble technique where you would take your stamp case and you'd put re-inkers in it, and then you'd slide a marble around and let it roll all over your paper? That's kind of what this one looks like to me, but this to me is a much easier way to achieve that. All right, so now we really are done with the brayer. I will just clip that off and clean it at a later time. I'm just putting it in my sink. Okay, all right, so now that's pretty cool. So that's how I made the paper for these right in here. And that's what gives these leaves just a little bit more interest, a little bit more character. So we have some die cutting to do, for sure, for sure. Okay, so here are the die cuts for this bundle, this big one. We'll get to that one in just a minute here. But let's pull all these littles out, get them organized. So on this paper here, you're going to need the double. You're going to need the single. Okay, And you're going to need this one. That'll be our first pass. And then we're going to do it all over again. So we've got a lot of die cutting to do. So while we're kind of getting the plates ready to roll through the die cut machine, let's kind of do things, because these aren't stamped and we're not having to like make sure they, are staying lined up. We're going to do a whole bunch at one time. So we're going to do this one. Okay. And we're going to bring in, so these small pieces here. Okay. And I'm going to put my old olive on top of my white. Did you see that? So there's your white. Your white might not be the exact same size, but it's close. And you're going to cut, Kayleen called this the Band-Aid. So you're going to cut the Band-Aid. All right, so we're going to do that right now, and then we'll be doing some more. Send that through the machine. Make sure everything's like that rolled off. Okay, here we go. Time to roll. Okay, let's see what we got here. All right, so now I do have my brush handy today. You're definitely going to want that for getting those out. I think it's much easier to clean those out while it's still in the die. But sometimes like that one came out. So it's like, oh, well, going to have to do it the old way. We'll poke this guy out. Okay, so we need those again. And let me peel this one up. Okay, that's the beauty of the Magic Mat, is it kind of grabs a lot of those pieces, which is very handy. Okay, so we're going to run this one through again. And this one. And this one. Okay, so here are my circles. Those will be on the card. And here's the oval, aka the Band-Aid. All right, now I got to keep my dies where I'm not going to lose them, because we are going to be going back and forth to those dies a lot today. All right, so I'm going to load this piece on now that we can, and I'm going to add the berries, okay? So let's run this through. Just trying to hold on to all my pieces. Okay, here we go, here we go. And we'll have more die cutting. So you tell me, would you rather me have the pieces die cut ahead of time for the live, or are you okay with doing them in real time like this? Just curious what your preference is. Okay. We are almost done with the balmy blue, but not quite yet. We're getting there. We have one more item in the balmy blue, but now these are available and I can start running them. So, people that are here, I'm not seeing any comments, folks, just FYI, which is kind of a bummer. Just that people are watching, that's all I'm seeing. So if you are making comments and I'm not responding to them, hopefully they'll start to populate soon. Okay, so the last thing on the blue is I need another one of the trio leaves, okay? And so I'm just kind of putting those wherever they look good. And I'm going to slide this over, okay? And we're going to get some greenery going here. Now, you have plenty of room, plenty of this paper here, so you don't have to worry too much about sneaking it all in. So we're going to need 2 of the berries. Let me check the inside. Yep. So 2 of the berries, and then we're going to double these up as well. So we've got 2 more passes through the Big Shot or the Stampin' Up Boss machine. Old habits die hard, right? Saying Big Shot. Big Shot just kind of rolls off the tongue a lot easier. Okay. Grabbing our pieces here. So the question of the hour, we've had 2 questions of the hour. One is, are you back to school? If you're doing the school things or your kids are doing the school things. And the other is, tell me, would you rather me have all these pre-cut so I can just use them, or in real time like this? So since this is a class, I know I don't do it on my other ones. I have them ready to go, but those classes are a little bit different. So I'm just curious. Especially since I wrote the PDF, I said, wait for class so you know what to cut out. Because there were so many multiples. But this is just one of those classes where, I mean, to me, when you have leaves, you need lots of leaves. Because like as leaves start to fall on the ground, there's just tons of them. They just don't seem to ever end, right? Okay, I'm done with the berries. I am done with the trio leaf. And I'm going to put all of these out. I'm going to clear off all the garbage and things so that you can see exactly what pieces you need, okay? So it won't be too difficult. And I'm going to do that one and this one. And this will be the last pass. Sorry if you couldn't see what I was doing. All right, so, but like I said, I'm going to lay them all back out so you can see. I know in the past I used to post like homework before class, have these items cut, but I kind of stopped doing that. You tell me if you want the homework, want them done ahead of time. I'm good for whatever. And I really wish I could see comments. I don't know why it does that, you know? Yeah. If anybody has tips how to make them appear, it would sure be nice. Okay, let me poke these out. A couple extras. Do you guys have this tip for your take your pick tool? All right, I'm done with my dies. I'm going to set those aside. And I'm going to set my paper aside because I think I have everything. I do. So let me just scrape those off, because we don't want those going through the machine because they will add little scars on our other pieces. Okay, so I'm done with this piece. Let me get the trashy out of the way, and then I'm going to show you all the pieces that I just die cut. Okay, so for the green, how do you like this green? This is gorgeous. I love this green. So there's our pieces for the green. And for the blue, we almost did the exact same thing. A double, a single, and I threw one of these away. And then I have 3 of the trios. And then we have, okay, I think these are what need to be die cut. And this one I die cut for you. That's actually from Stylish Shapes. So those are your pieces that you're going to need for this particular card, with the exception of this giant piece here. So here's what we're going to do. These are our smalls. I'm going to just keep these. So if you want to screenshot that, you can do it right now. You like that? That was like the picture taking. Terrible sound effect. Okay, let me move this out of the way because we're going to now work with the hybrid folder for one last element on this card. So you have a piece of bubble bath here. And what we're going to do is we're going to emboss and die cut at the same time. So here's technique number, is this number 4 for this card? Are we at 4 or 5? I don't remember. You'll have to tell me. Anyhow, so logo side, open it up, and then you're going to lay your die, and it will kind of just slide, and you'll hear it kind of click right into place. So this is the blade side, which isn't really a blade, but this is the cut side up. And now what I want you to do is we're going to get 2 leaves here. I have to remember which 2 leaves we're going for. We're going for the big one and for the kind of the maple-y looking one. So this one. So I'm going to just kind of hold my paper right over those 2 leaves, close the embossing folder. And so make sure that your paper is covering these 2 leaves. This one we're not going to use for this project, but let me wiggle this over just a little bit. There we go. All right. So now I'm going to die cut and emboss all at the same time. So to do this, let's look at what the sandwich needs to be. Plate number 1. Embossing folder with the die and paper in it, and plate number 4. Okay, so this is going through the Stampin' Cut Emboss machine. Okay, so cool. I love this. Love it, love it, love it, love it. So there's our beautiful leaf right there. And then we have this leaf as well. So these 2 are going to be for the project. This is all going in my trash can. Okay. Get those little pieces out for next time. Put my dies where I know I can find them. And then for these, what I want to do is I am going to do a little bit of splatter action. Let me just kind of wiggle these off to the side. And I'm going to splatter the following pieces here. So just a little bit more of the using your bone folder to kind of knock your blends onto your elements here. And so I'm using, and I've been doing this for probably, I don't know, close to a year now, and it is totally saving my tips. Okay, and I'm not going too heavy on the whites, and then we'll add some dimension to these. To me, these are the little details that you may not notice in photographs, but in person you really do see the definition that this kind of brings to whatever your design is. Now notice I'm holding back just a little bit on the white because I don't want it to be like too crazy. So let me bring this up. I don't know if that's going to show or not, but it's faint. And in person, it looks really, really good. Okay, so we have our elements designed for this card. We have a little bit of stamping to do. And on the wide oval here, we are going to stamp, that's not the one. We're going to stamp, "You are amazing in every single way." And I'm going to stamp that with Old Olive. So twist, twist, tap, tap. And I'm just going to put that dead center or aim for it. Okay, that one's easy. And then let's also stamp this circle here. I love that in this set of dies, they've given us some labels and a circle here. It really is, I like it when there's that, it kind of rounds out the collection. Okay, now this one says, "I couldn't have done it without you." And that's just going to go in the center. We have a little bit more stamping to do. And that is on these 2 pieces here. We're going to do just a little bit. So I've lost count on different techniques that we're doing on this card, but we're going to do some blending first. And I'm going to take that kind of out of the way, the Old Olive. So with the bubble bath and with a blending brush for bubble bath, I'm loading up my brush with ink. And let me open up the card so you can kind of see. So there's where it opens, and then it opens again. And so we're going to do just a little bit of stamping on the 2 opposing corners, okay? So offload the ink so it's not too harsh. And we're just going to add some ink to the corner here. And then I'm going to take this image here. And you know what? I don't know if it's, I think I cleaned it before I put it away, but you never know. I'm kind of, you know, definitely not type A. This is kind of the mapley looking one. I'm going to do a little image there. Okay. And I'm going to do the same thing that I just did to the corner here. Offload. Get some ink going in the corner. And I know it doesn't look like there's a lot there, but I want it to be fairly subtle. I don't want it to be too in your face. And I'm going to do the exact same thing, okay? And so now what I really do have is that, right? And we're just going to add the word thank you there. So, and we'll do that with Old Olive. And I'm just going to take it kind of right up at the top. Cool. And last but not least on here, I'm going to close up my ink pads, but I'm going to bring back my two blends, which are Boho and Old Olive. And I'm going to do just a little bit to soften the white here, just to add a little bit of definition, a little bit of depth. It kind of really got me right there, but that's okay. My Old Olive is not very juicy anymore. So it's not splattering like it used to. Whoops, wrong end. You want to be using the brush marker end. And I'm kind of aiming these little splatters on the leaves. Okay, that's it. Elements are complete. We now need to assemble. So let's see here. Let's just kind of brush this off and let's put it all together. Okay, this actually goes this way. All right, so here is the card base. And I talked a little bit about this latch card that I have, or fold back card that I have kind of, you know, really kind of enjoyed working. But this is a variation on it. It's a different pattern. So my piece here is 8.5 by 5.5. And I have scored it at 3, 6, and I believe 7 1/4. Yeah. So 3, 6, 7 1/4. Okay. So, and this is actually, you've got to fold it over. So this one's going to fold this way. Okay, we'll give that a good burnish. And now this one, this far, the 7 1/4 one, this one's going to fold in. So let's get that one done. And then this one on the inside, this one's going to fold back. Okay, so fold that one back. And so that's what's going to create the fold back. Okay, there it is right there. Okay, so let's do just some easy stuff first. Oh, look at this, you guys. I brought out a brand new tube of glue. Woohoo! Okay, so a little bit. We'll just kind of put this. Look, I didn't even need to unclog. Gotta love a new thing of glue. And so this first one is going to sit right inside there. Now, these are designed to have a pretty tight border because that's kind of, I know I've mentioned it several times before recently. I'm into some tighter borders these days. I was kind of getting tired of the cutting it 1/4 inch shorter or narrower to have an 1/8 inch border. I've been cutting these an 1/8 inch narrower or shorter to have a 1/16 inch border. So that's kind of what I've been enjoying doing lately. Okay, now here's one more thing we're going to do to this, and that is we're going to adhere this fold. Okay, so we'll just kind of let that glue set. Awesome. Now with our debossed piece, this piece is going to attach to our card, and that's going to be the card front. What's cool is we don't lose the embossed side. It really is kind of fun. But when I first made this card, I glued to here and then I pulled it apart, and I'm going to actually use dimensionals because by the time we decorate this area here, it needed the lift. All right, because you know, this is where second card is. For those of you who don't know what second card is, second card, so here's the card front. I think it's fun to have a second card front, so I call it second card. Okay, there's that. And I'm just going to kind of do a row of dimensionals right down here. And then this just layers right on top, like so. Nice. And then it's just kind of a nice, it'll be nice and flat. Like I said, when it was glued, it was popping up like that. So that's why I pulled it off and added the dimensionals. Okay, let's layer up the front here. Actually, before we layer up the front, I want to do one last little bit of stamping. And so if you open up the card, just kind of open it like so and then flip it over. We're going to stamp the big, big leaf image. And we're going to stamp the big leaf image here with Old Olive. So let me give it a quick clean just in case. So here's my Old Olive. And this nice big huge leaf image. I'm going to ink the whole thing up, but we're not going to use the whole image. Okay. It's actually, let's see what I did here. So see, it's just kind of right up in here. So let's get it in the right spot. So it's going to be this corner right in here. And I'm just going to, oh, okay. I'm so glad I stopped. All right. So what I have noticed with this particular, and I know I brought it out. Where is it? Here it is. This image, so let me just show you what happens. So ink this all up. Okay, get it all inked up nice and great. For me, it doesn't matter how much pressure I put on the stamp. I cannot get the middle to stamp. So, and I'm not one that says, oh, you have to use a piercing pad with photopolymer. I'm usually okay without it, but this image is so large, it needs the piercing mat. So, I highly recommend the piercing mat. Let me put it underneath my paper here. And you will see the difference. So this is just going to kind of reach up right into here. There, much better. So definitely when using this big guy, have your piercing mat underneath you. Okay, that is the end of the prep work. Yes, I was just making sure. Okay, because I didn't want to tell a lie. All right, so now we can kind of shut that. Okay, let's layer this all together. So I'm going to add my white circle. Let me just bring the card in so that you can kind of see where we're coming from. So this one's going to glue down. And I'm going to come down about, not quite an inch, and I'm over about 1/4. Okay, then my pink leaf is going to come in here like so. And, you know, you may or you may not want to cut the tip off. We'll see. And let's see, this guy, we can glue these two together. So we're going to kind of make Saturn here. That's what it reminded me of. There's a lot of glue there. Okay, so these are gluing together. But let's put dimensionals behind this. Okay. And then I like to start coming in with these three, with the trio leaves. They're going to go 1, 2, and 3. Okay. Then I like to put in the other blue leaves. And that's going to come, we've got one, it goes under the pink, one's in there. And the other double is down in here. And it goes under the green. Okay. And another blue one. And tuck it way down in there. And then the green. And so the green we're actually going to cut apart. Okay. So we're going to do a green, just kind of in the spaces in between. This is a green berry. Okay, I think I'm going to glue what I have going. All right, let's do that. So let's start then. Let me pull that guy out. I'm going to start with, I'm just going to kind of flip. No, maybe I'm not going to flip it over. Well, you know where we're headed. So let me tell you, this is going to actually, I'm going to take this stem off and we're going to put a little bit of glue kind of in here. Okay. And then we'll do dimensionals, and I'm going to do minis just because I want to be able to lift them up if I have to. So I'm going to do a mini there and a mini there, just on each of these tips out here, and this one right there. This one I'm not going to worry about. Okay, so let me bring this in. So this is going to sit kind of right on the edge, and these two kind of play off of each other. So if there's my glue, let me put this down. And I haven't pulled my dimensionals off the backs yet because of the leaves, because I want to be able to get the other leaves behind them. Does that make sense? Hopefully. Okay, so this is going up in here. It's interesting, you make the card again, but it's never quite exactly the same, which is okay. I'm going to put a mini on this, and I'm actually going to put the mini on the leaf here, and maybe even this leaf. And I'm going to reach this one in and try and tuck it in there as far as I can get it. It's getting, there we go. Kind of tucking that right in there. And now with my dimensionals, I'm going to do a twofer here, and that is I'm going to glue both of these down with the dimensional. Okay. Cool. Okay, while I'm here in this general vicinity, let's just tuck these. Whoa, that was a lot of glue. Let me just grab some of that. Okay, so this one, I'm going to tuck it under. Just kind of get it in there as far as you can get it. And then I'm just kind of pressing down so that that glue will engage wherever it landed. And then we have one that goes in here. Nice. Looking good, looking good. Let's do the same thing. And this little one is going to reach inside. Whoops, we got a little extra piece hanging on. Got rid of it. That's a lot of glue there. That's what happens when it's a new jar, right? So this one kind of comes right up in there. And then we have a blue, but this blue dives underneath. And these I'm going to do with dimensionals again. So we have one under. I sure wish the comments would show up. It's really a bummer. I'm going to put these in, kind of like I did this one down here. I'm going to put it in. I'm not necessarily going to glue it because I'm going to come in and attach it with the dimensionals that I'm going to put on this one. Okay. This is going to be a long class, you guys. Oh, really? Okay, so this one here. The good thing is I think this is the card that takes the most time. The others go a little faster. Okay, so this one is going to reach in between. Gonna tuck that little berry down in there. And we have another piece of green, and this, well, we don't on this card. We have this blue that's coming up right in there. That's the one that goes in there. I feel like I could have some more green in that corner just because this one kind of came together just a little bit different. But that's half the fun, right? Okay, now if you remember, I had some dimensionals back here. I'm just going to pull those so that I can attach those in place. Okay, so we have these elements left. I feel like I'm missing a green, but it is. It's one. Yep. I feel like we could have another green in here. So I'm going to do it because I have it. So if you feel like you need another one, you have plenty of product to work with. We cut enough pieces. Ooh, I like it. Okay, so there's the front. You guys, I forgot the linen thread. Oh, well. I think we can still get it in. Oh, it wouldn't be a card if I hadn't forgotten. You remember when all the times I'd forget the ribbon? Okay, well, let's talk about the linen thread. You can leave it or not. It's up to you. I'll show you with and without. Maybe that's why this one didn't feel as, I don't want that. That's for the next card. So you have this here. So you have linen thread and yellow twine. We don't want the twine right now. Your linen thread here, you're actually going to cut in half. So half is for this card and the other half is for another card. Okay, so chop this in half. You have plenty of linen thread there. And so you can have your linen, I can tuck it in there. I can make it work. So I'm just going to tie a quick bow here. And I want this to be a fairly large size bow so that I can really kind of see it on both sides. Here I said see it on both sides and then I didn't see it and put it in. A little dumb. Okay, so get your linen thread going the way you like it. And then it's going to tuck. I'm going to make that loop a little smaller. Kind of right in there. My original, it's tucked under the center of my but I'm okay with where it is right now. Okay, so there's that. And my tail here is a little longer, so I'll just even that out. And then I can shove a glue dot in there, and I'll do that at a later time, just for time's sake. So there's our linen thread. So now let's quickly just do, let's quickly assemble second card here. It's not going to be too hard because we already have everything ready to go. I'm trying to find something to hold it open. How about an ink pad? That's kind of risky, but we're going to try it. Okay, so it's going to go something like this. I'm just going to go ahead and hold these two together and add some dimensionals. And as soon as I have this other one on, I'll flip it over so you can see exactly kind of where I positioned it. So I have it just kind of coming off this top left corner here. So let's pull that and add that so we can see what we're doing here. So this is going to kind of come over here to the left side, I'm sorry, to the right side of the old olive. Okay. And, oh, I'm one shy of a flower or a triple leaf, but let's get these others in. So here goes the double. So let's glue the double in. Okay, so this one's just going to sneak right in there. And then we have a blue. Okay, this one goes on top. Pretty. And then we have one more. Okay, so let's see. Where's my die? Cut myself one more of those. I can sneak it in here. Okay, real quick. I didn't count very well. You think I'd be able to count to 4, right? Surprise. Okay, we are almost done with this first card. Okay. All right, there's that last one. So hopefully you have room, but if not, you can use something else as well, like this leaf that we have left. And then this one's just going to glue right in there, and that finishes that little grouping off, and that finishes the second card. The last thing we need to do, folks, is just some gems. And these gems that you have in your kit, holy moly, I didn't know that we had them. Let's just kind of shut this and we'll add them all in. These are the shiny sequins. I love them. They're so awesome. I like that they're flat. I like the happy colors, and it's amazing how awesome these colors actually work with so many things. So we're going to use this lighter green color for our card here. Let me just kind of slide this out of the way. The nice thing is you have plenty of them to use as many as you want. So I'm going to put a small and a large, and this large I'm going to kind of dive it under, kind of right in there. Maybe wiggle this one down just a little closer to it. There's that. And then there's another one hiding right here. This is a small, and it's tucked behind. Oh, look at that. We don't want a dimensional cover. Anyways, this one's tucked behind. It's kind of fun. These are kind of like hide and seek. See if you can find how many I've done. Another one kind of right in here. But I want to make sure that it's lower than this one. I don't want them going straight across. And then let's do a large. And I'm going to tuck the large kind of behind the pink. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How many others did I do? There's one hiding there. 6, 7. So there's 7 on the front here. One more large. And it's kind of tucked hiding in here. Well, it's even further in on my original, but I can't get there. And then we have another one right back in here. Okay, so there's the gems. And then on the inside, I did 3. So let's do 3 there. And that will finish this. I know the card looks fairly simple in the picture, but there's a lot in this card. A lot of different techniques and a cool fold. Just fun stuff. And fun gems. Lots of gems, folks. There's the other one. So I did 1, 2, 3. Okay, there it is. We have finally finished in an hour and 4 minutes. Well, not quite, because we had blab time at the beginning. But there is card number 1. We'll call this late summer. And then we're going to change leaves here in just a second to fall. Okay, any questions on that one? Give a holler. Of course, I still can't see comments. I don't know why it does that. It drives me crazy. But maybe you guys aren't saying a word, but I find that hard to believe that no one would say anything. Okay, I kind of need to straighten up just a skosh because I've made a total mess. Okay, let me show my pads, and we're going to switch to card number 3. And let me show you what our color combo is for card number 3 for our fall card. And I'm just putting plates back in place here. Okay. All right. Our color combo for number 4. No, number 2. Number 4. Okay, we're going to take these away. Hopefully no one has questions. You can always shoot me a message in the comments or send me an IM, an email. I'll happily help anybody. Okay, colors for this card number 3. I finally see a comment. No, card number 2. I was looking at plate number 3 is my problem. We're doing card number 2. This one here. I love, 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 love this card. Oh my gosh. And there's a lot going on that you might not see. Here's our colors. Pecan pie, petunia pop, peach pie, pumpkin pie. So it's all about pie. So here is what we're going to do. We're going to start. Let's go back to our stack of papers for class. Remember, we had the scrap from card number 1. And then we're going to grab everything from the Berry Burst card base up. Okay, Berry Burst and up. Okay, so let's start with the piece of watercolor paper. All right, your watercolor paper is the heaviest paper in this stack. So let's start with that. This is a great color combination for fall, Jacqueline. I'm so glad I can finally see the comments. So, yes, and it's an unusual one in that, you know, we're really kind of blending Berry Burst and Petunia Pop, Cajun Craze, Copper Clay. We are going all over. But we're going to start inking up, and you're going to want your glass mat or a sheet protector, or you could use a piece of window sheet, or you could even use the inside, like on your stamps here, this inside piece, you like my leftovers, this inside piece of acetate, you could use that as well. I like to use my glass mat, which is why I'm using my glass mat today, because this is just so like, it's just fun to sit here and make a mess right on your work surface. So I'm going to start with peach pie. And I'm starting with peach pie because this is the lightest of my 3 colors that I'm going to use. So I'm just adding some peach pie to my glass mat. I'm just, you know, direct to the mat from ink pad. Okay, here comes pumpkin pie. Might overlap it a little. And then I'm going to come in here with petunia pop. Kind of add some petunia pop color like so. Now you need your mini mister or a spritzer, and it needs to be filled with water. So I have mine filled with water. And this actually takes quite a bit of water, believe it or not. So I'm just squirting my ink. At the same time, come on, I'm trying to direct it. There we go. Trying to really mix the colors. Ooh, that was a good one. So work it around, get your inks moving, then take your watercolor paper and smoosh it right in to the puddle. Wait, so I missed the conversation because I couldn't see any of the comments. So let's see here. So I'm just reading. So Kayleen Marie, yes, we know. It's all over the feeds online. Can't help to know that it is a new release. Yeah, you'll have to catch me up on the comment. Okay, this one's going to be cool. Ah, look at that. Not important. Okay, thank you. All right, so here is, this piece is pretty. This is even prettier than the one that I have done ahead of time. I did have one done ahead of time. Oh, the magnetic magic mat. Yeah. I really like the regular. I haven't tried the magnetic, but anyhow, so that is how I've made my custom piece of paper. And the thing that's fun about this is you never know what you're going to get. It's gorgeous. I agree, Jolinda. And if it's really drippy on your paper and you want to just kind of rock it back and forth, you can. If you want to kind of change things up in here, smush it back into the ink, you know, and kind of let things kind of drip and run around. But I think it's best when you let this air dry. It turns out a little different if you kind of force dry it with your heat tool, because it doesn't do the same for some reason. So that is it. You're just going to put this in a safe spot to dry. So I'm going to set that over there. And you're going to come in and give a quick clean of your mat, your glass mat. Okay, there's that. That was just paper towel. Now I have I'm just going to kind of dry with this one. You could also use the chamois that comes with your glass mat, but get the ink off first and then come in. This thing's wonderful. I love it. But mine's not wet, so I can't use it right now. But anyhow, love that. Okay, that is how I've made my own custom paper. So this is the one I did last night. So to be nice and dry for right now. And we're going to do some things with this. The first thing I want to do is we're going to stamp the leaf image here with pecan pie. Okay, so with pecan pie, and just kind of pick a spot that you like. And this card, I can already tell, is going to look completely different than my original. Tandra says, if you get the back of the water, so that is, I do that a lot when I'm watercoloring, and doing things like, where you're watercoloring a lot of images. Yes. So her comment here, you guys, is really, really important. It's super helpful. If you get the back of your paper wet, it won't have that curling effect. That's right. Thank you for reminding me. Okay, so I'm going to wiggle this one right here in this corner. And this is pecan pie. Okay, and we'll do another pecan pie. And I think I will do it kind of right in this corner. Okay. And what I want to do now is we're going to fussy cut these. We're not going to fussy cut these out. We're going to rough cut. Okay. So just kind of come around here. I really like the color right there. Okay. Okay, so those are set aside. And I'm going to close my ink pad for now. Let's bring in the big die and the embossing folder here. So same drill, logo side up, put that on top, lock your die in place. Okay, and now here's where it gets a little tricky. You're going to kind of want to hold it, and you're going to bring your image in here. And you're just going to kind of hold it in place, just like so. Get it just the way you want it. If it's a little off, you guys, don't worry about it. Okay, and then just carefully close that shut. And we're going to run this through the machine. Remembering our sandwich is plate 1, embossing folder with the die, and plate number 4. Okay, now look how gorgeous this is. Look at that. All right, so there's one. Let's get the other one done real quick here. Okay, so logo, I flipped it. So it was here and I flipped it up. The big die. Okay, now I'm going to kind of flip it over and position it. So this would be kind of less like when you're putting it on, instead of putting it on the plate, you're actually putting it in your hands and lining up your die. Same concept, just kind of a different, it feels different in your hands because it's not the same, you're not putting it on the top of the die. You're having to position it in midair. Well, okay. Super pretty. So if we go from our first card where we just did the die cut and embossed image, look how different these are when you have a little bit of Stampin' to go with it. So these hybrids are fun to be able to do that sort of thing. Okay, now what I did do with these is I am going to take kind of a bone folder to loosen these up just a little bit, and then I'm just gonna scrunch them like crazy. Okay, just give them even more texture and really ratty them up a little bit. Look how different, because my color was so much darker. Yep, it's definitely going to be a different look from this card from the original. But I promise, this is exactly what I did. Okay, so these are good and crunchy. You could spritz these, but I kind of don't want these colors to bleed. Okay, so there are those. Now let's do some more die cutting here. So we have our big guy and this one. Now, this may happen and it may not happen. We'll see what happens. But you see how all of these are still intact? It's just kind of how it happened. I don't know if I can make it happen again. Okay, so I'm going to put my leaves on here. We're going to do a single, and then we're going to do 2 doubles, okay? So I'm just going to go like that. We're going to run this through twice. So our sandwich, we go back to 1, 2, 3, or a magic mat. You've seen me use the magic mat for quite some time now. And then plate number 3 on top. If I can find plate number 3 in my mess here. There's plate number 3. Here we go. Now, I'm hoping that the insides of the leaves stay inside. And it doesn't happen with all paper, but it seems to happen with the watercolor paper. Okay, just because it's so thick, I guess. So I'm going to poke out from down here, not from the inside. Notice I didn't use my brush on this one. And I'm just going to hope for the best. And if 1 or 2 falls out, that's okay. Look, they all stayed in there. Crisp. If you use a small piece of adhesive, oh, I didn't know that. So do you mean put the adhesive sheet on the back of this one? Because then it's kind of sticky in there. Ooh, I'm going to have to try that. Because this is where I get kind of, totally like old school here. Just take a piece of Scotch tape then, and then just kind of, and this isn't Scotch tape. This is actually the other tape. Oh, I'm totally going to try that. Because my friend Julie Beltramo, she's not here today, but she loves this look of keeping the pieces inside. And we've always just kind of like, faked it until we maked it. Oh, I did not know that. I'm so glad you shared that tip. That is awesome. Oops, we lost one. That's okay. We'll just put it right back in. Okay, we're going to do that same exact thing, but we're going to do it with just the double. And so find another spot where you want to run that through and plate back on. I did not know that. Oh, I so want to try it like right now, but I don't have any adhesive sheets out here with me. I do back in the stamp room. Okay, here we go again. Oops, we're losing a couple here. So just perform a little surgery here. You take your pick tool. Okay. Well, Jacqueline, try it right now. Okay. Okay, this one's good. We'll just flip that back over. Run a little bit of my, sometimes at my desk I have Scotch tape, but this just happens to be what I have on hand. So I'm just going to tape these in. And you'll never see them. So this is just the tape that I use for dies, you know, holding dies in place. Oh, this is the one where it was falling out, so we got to be careful with this one. Get back in there. Okay, there we have it. So I am super anxious to try Chris's, and I'm sure it's going to be a huge lifesaver. So I have a question for you, Chris, then. How is it if you do it with, because I know this just kind of happens because it's the Fluid 100 is so thick. What happens if it's the just regular cardstock? That would be great to know. Okay, so those elements are ready. We have a little bit more die cutting to do here, folks. So we need our double and our single, and you need your Berry Burst Glimmer. Am I the only one that freaks out when there's new colors of glimmer paper? Okay, and in your stack of papers, you have a piece of, this is copper, and this is the textured metallic paper. Hello, Emma. Chris, that's good to know that it still works. I am literally, when I get off this, I'm going to go try it. I'm so excited. I'm super, super excited. Okay, so Emma loves glimmer. I do too. I have every pack that it comes in. So this piece here, we're going to do some berries, and then you'll need to do it a second time. So let's run this through. So I asked earlier when I couldn't see the comments, when they weren't populating, if you like it better in live time to have me die cut everything, or do you like me to have it done ahead of time? So I can just blaze right through the projects. Curious to know that answer. Or did you like it when I posted homework for class? Okay, so we grab these, and then I just need one more of these, of the copper. I really enjoy this copper color because this copper color, it takes on different colors as you start using it. I used it a lot with the Paper Pumpkin kit this month, and it's amazing how it really started to take on a rose gold look. Good, Jacqueline's going to go try it right now. So Kayleen likes the lifetime for sure. You can follow better. Okay, see, that's the kind of feedback I need to hear. That's super helpful. It just means class isn't going to be 2 hours. It's going to be longer. But you can already see this one's going a little faster than card number 1 because card number 1 was jam-packed with techniques and things to do, kind of behind the scenes. All right, so those are our die cuts so far. And then if you remember this little piece right here, we're going to need some pieces from this, and you're going to need a circle, and you're going to need 2 of these. So we just need to run that through twice. Okay? Here we go. So that was the circle and the trio leaf. And just like I did on the first card, I will show all of them again, all of our die cuts. I'll lay them out. And then I just need this guy. This one I always have to poke out. It doesn't like to release. And one more of these. Okay. And I'm not doing it, you could do it where the leaves have been embossed, but I'm just doing it where it's the wood grain. And for those who jumped on a little later, this wood grain is left over from project number 1. And so it has a little bit of bubble bath across it. And I liked that because it kind of helped to make it so it wasn't quite so stark. You know, the white was just too white. Okay, so here's what we have die cut wise. We have done our leaves. We've done our other watercolored leaves, but look how different are, how varied, the variety here. You're out of adhesive sheets. That's a bummer. Okay, and then from our leftover bubble bath wood texture, we have the circle and the tube. Then we have the copper. And then let me just hit these with my little, doing it off screen so I don't have to, out of the camera so you don't have to see me clean it all up. But now it's all over my counter. Okay, so here are my berry burst leaves. I have really become a huge fan of berry burst. At first I wasn't sure. I'm like, that's a pretty intense color. But I have grown to love berry burst. And I really enjoy berry burst and petunia pop together. Okay, so folks, there they are. That is the lineup. Wait, I've got one more. One more. This one was in your kit. And it's the word hello from Rustic Crate. Now, you could use a stamped image here or any other word. It doesn't, you know, just something little. I just, I liked this greeting. I'm going to go ahead and try and get the hanging chads out of here. Okay. So, I mean, you could use this from Rustic Crate. There are several different die cuts. I at first did the word friend from the Full of Life suite, and it was way too big. So that's why I went to something like that. Okay, there are the die cuts you need. So let's just kind of push these out of the way for just a second while we take the leftovers of our linen thread from the kit, and we're going to bring out our scratch paper, and you're also going to grab your Cajun Craze Stampin' Blend. This is the dark one. I'm going to go ahead and tie this in a bow first. I kind of think it's easier to color my linen thread when it's already tied in a bow. It's just a little easier to manage because when it's just a long string, it just seems, I don't know. It just seems easier this way. Okay, so I'm pulling on both ends, trying to make my bow look fairly decent. Maybe a little bigger. And then I'll kind of tame down my ends here so I can see what I've got going. And now I'm just going to color the whole bow, and I'm going to turn it over and color the other side of the bow. Okay. I just need them to cooperate. Okay. So I just kind of come in here, just color this. And you could use Cajun Craze. You could use copper clay. I think you could use any of the browns like the SU 100 or the 200. Those are the neutral tones, the skin tones. I don't know what they call them, but they're really pretty. Just about any of those darker colors would work. It's amazing how dark wild wheat can even look. Okay, so there's that. And then I just flip the whole thing over. And yes, it looks like it's already been done. But you know what? It needs just a little bit more. Because I'm kind of like, you know, got to go all the way. That's kind of how I roll, right? Okay. Let that dry for just a bit. Because if you take it right now, it's going to kind of, you know, you don't want it to rub off on anything. See how that would rub off? So let it dry. Okay. Kind of shape it the way you like it. Maybe I'll grab my ends and make sure they're fairly even. And they're kind of frayed, so I'm just going to clean them up. So that's ready. The nice thing about using your Stampin' Blends for coloring twine or ribbon is that this, when it's dry, it's color fast. If you were to use, like, I don't know if you remember when we would put tape on our finger and run it through an ink pad, that never would set. It would always kind of, you know, eke out onto your our new color. You could use, oh, so Kayleen, on those natural tones, you could color those, but that one already has a nice rich color in there that you could just use that color rather than coloring your linen thread. I just, you know me, I love linen thread because I'll do anything to it. Take it apart, color it, you know, braid it, you know. I really like it. And I do like that new pack. Okay, now we are almost ready to assemble. Let's go to our other papers that are in this pack. So this one here, we have some work we need to do on it. This is copper clay. And then you have a Cajun craze that goes underneath, and it's a tight, tight fit, okay? Intentional. So with this piece here, we're going to do some stamping. Let me bring my scratch paper back in. And I also need my piercing pad for the same reason, because we're going to use that big image, and that big image needs something underneath it. No matter how many times I tried, that's what I got right there, is it missed in the middle. And while this is copper clay, I'm actually stamping with pecan pie. And the reason is, when I first did it with copper clay, the image, it was just too much. And I'm like, this is a background I'm creating. I didn't want it quite so intense. So I switched to the pecan pie, and I really, really liked that a lot better. And so all I'm doing, folks, is I'm just stamping a real fast background. And with this image being so big, it covers it in one fell swoop. Now look how dark this is. It is going to lighten up. Okay, maybe do this way. And we'll do a little bit right up in there. Okay. That's it. That's all I'm going to do for this background. Whoops, just knocked my light. And the other thing I'm going to do with this background here is I'm going to run it through the embossing folder. So this time, rather than bringing the die in, okay, rather than bringing the die in, I'm actually just going to use this as an embossing folder. So just put it wherever you like and run it through your Big Shot. Remember that this is plate 1, the folder, then plate 4. Okay. Yeah, Kayleen, I really like those natural tones because you've got it's like a pecan pie and a navy and a green. Look how cool that is, you guys. Hopefully you do yours in real life and see how pretty it is. But we're going to make it prettier. That is, I'm going to take, now I didn't show this color as being one of our colors for this, but squeeze your Whisper White. This is black. This isn't white. Oh, shoot, Queen. Well, squeeze your Whisper White. Get your aqua painter. And you're going to flick it with Whisper White, which I don't have. And I'm not going to go get, because you can get the idea. But then you're also going to do a spritz of Wink of Stella. Get this one going. Okay. Let me kind of prime that just a little bit more. There we go. So this is really pretty when you have some of that Whisper White in here. And the reason I did the Whisper White is to kind of, and it's subtle. Let me show you the original card. It's really, really subtle down in here. The reason I did that was to kind of bring it back to the lightness of this. So it is a step that I think is necessary, but I'm going to bypass it since I use this one and I use the old Whisper White like this, and I grabbed the wrong one. Shoot, Queen. Yeah, what else is new? Okay, so you need your pecan pie brush, because I am going to ink the sides just a little bit. So with pecan pie and a blending brush, I'm just going to come in and warm up these corners and the edges, but especially the corners. Okay. Man, I wish I had my little white splatters. Okay. Now this is just, it's an optional, but man, it really, I think it kind of, it's a step that I really enjoy doing. So try that. Now this is going to glue to here. Let me get rid of my scratch paper. Glue that, and then I'm going to use my scissors to fringe the edge. So just center this. And this is a really tight fit, intentionally tight. Okay, try and get it even. Okay, that's like that. Before I glue it on, I'm going to use my paper snips. I'm going to open them up. Let me kind of give this a press, get it nice and nice and tight. And I'm just going to fringe this and kind of distress the edge so that it comes right up on the side of the copper clay. And see how it just kind of curls right up and around it? And I like this because it just kind of adds to the crispy, crunchy feeling of fall. Okay, one more side. Okay, if you've been around with Stampin' Up! A long time, you'll remember when we actually had an edger that did that. Then you can kind of go back in and kind of rough that up and really bring it in with your fingernails. But if you look at the photos that I posted yesterday, that is what I have going on here. Okay, that little edge, it just really helps to define the edge just a little bit more. And just, to me, it takes it up a notch. It's kind of fun. This is going to glue on. Oops, I put my glue in my tool caddy, not the glue caddy. This is just going to go on. We're going to center it. Okay, and now we start to add all of our fun stuff. And let's see if I remember to put my linen thread in at the right time. Okay, let's see. So some of this is glued and some of this is going to be dimensionaled. But I'm going to start with my leaves here, with our watercolored leaves. And they kind of go like so. And then the single, where's my single? Here it is, comes right up in here. So let's just dry fit these two leaves as well. And I think I'm going to switch this one down here. And then this one right up in here, just because of the colors. And I want this one just a little crunchier. I kind of wish this leaf were a little darker. Okay, so that one's going in there. It is a nice, pretty contrast, but look how different the two cards are going to be. So let's go ahead and I'm going to put a dimensional on the back of this, just kind of right in there, and a dimensional kind of right in the same spot on this one. And I'm going to just see how we are spatially, and I think I'm going to adhere these things down, okay? That way I can kind of get the ball rolling here. So I'll do these two first and then I'll glue underneath. So this one, and I'm okay if it falls off the edge of my background piece. I kind of like that when things kind of go beyond. I think it just kind of has, I don't know, a fun look. And then these are gluing down. Can't wait to try Chris's trick. So just kind of slip that under, right in there. We'll slip this one under as well. I'm being sure to grab some of the paper and the tape because I don't want to just glue the tape. Okay, there's that guy. And now this one. Come on. Lift this one up. Okay, now let's head in for this one right here. Oh, but before I do it, I'm going to lay my linen thread in here. And I'm going to put, I think I'm just going to put a dollop of glue right in there, a big dollop of glue. Nice. Okay, get in there. And I think I'm going to turn it just a wee little bit. So I have it going diagonally. That's intentional. And my dimensionals here were intentional so that I could straddle the knot, if you know what I mean. Okay, looking good. I have the wood grain. I don't know if you can see it, but I have the wood grain actually going vertical. I didn't want it like one direction or the other. I didn't want it cattywampus. I wanted it growing straight. All right, berry burst leaves here. Our first set, just a little glue. And we'll tuck this. It's going to kind of come right. Well, it's like one's on top and one's underneath. Lift that puppy up just a little bit. There we go. That's where I want that one. Can you see where that one went? And then the single. Right here. And these, remember on the first card, I put dimensionals behind this. I kind of am going to do the same thing again. You don't have to do it to every leaf. I'm just going to do it to the middle one. Pull off the backing. You guys, I have the biggest mess off to the side of me. You would not believe. Usually I can keep it pretty tidy, but today, it is a wreck in here. Somebody said, you have it all organized. And I'm like, oh, maybe right here. But if you saw over here to this side, ink pads, garbage. It's pretty bad. Okay, and then this one is going to go right up in there. Just get one of those to catch. And our 2 copper, we are in the home stretch, but we have to make the inside pretty. But the inside getting pretty is really going to be easy. So my copper, right under where I had my dimensional, it's going to slide in there. And then this one, I think I'm going to trim the end. That's why I was having a hard time getting that one in to where I wanted it to go a little further in, but it was getting caught up. That happens sometimes. Okay. And then this one tucks down in here. Well, there we go. That's where I like it to be. And then the hello. And so I'm just going to do just teeny dots of glue here. I need my little precision bottle, but I didn't bring it out with me because I don't want this to gush. Okay, that should be enough. And all this is I just have it sitting across the bottom, just like so. Okay, now, of course, we'll hit it. So these layers have a little wink because we can. And here's what's really, really pretty about this are the gems. Here are my gems. And so let me bring my pack in here. This color here looks fabulous. That's the color that I used for this card. And let's see, I've got a bunch of them. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's 5 on there. So let's see, let's start with this one's a large. And so I just kind of have one down in here hiding. Okay, so that when you pick it up, it kind of picks up some of that glisten and that sparkle. So there's one, that was large. And then I have a small tucked in here. So these are kind of diagonally. And then another one over here, and this looks like it's a large. If I'm going off my original, tucked there. And that's a small. Next one is small, comes up and around this leaf. And then one more up in there, and we'll do a large. Well, maybe I'm going to hide it in a slightly different spot. Right there. Okay, so look how pretty those are. Even these would be pretty. I mean, fabulous gems. Okay, inside, super quick, easy stamping. We have a piece. You have a piece if you pulled that whole stack out for the inside. And so the inside, let's stamp this other leaf. Let's give this leaf some love. And I'm going to ink up with peach pie. So ink it up in peach pie. And then we're going to take petunia pop. So you need a blending brush for petunia pop. And we're just going to go direct to rubber here. And I'm just going to kind of pounce some petunia pop in a few spots. Okay, so there's 3 little spots of petunia pop. And we'll do just a little bit of pecan pie. But I'm not even going to re-ink my brush. I'm just going to use I'm just going to offload what's on there already. Okay. And I am going to put the pierce pad underneath because even though this is a smaller image, I just want to be sure it stamps. So we'll stamp this leaf down in the corner. Okay. Super pretty. Just mix those colors together using your blending brushes. And as you can, I mean, I don't know what that's like, fall fire. What would we call this color? It's so pretty. Here, I closed pecan pie and I shouldn't have. I want the image that says, you are amazing in every single way. Hello, you're amazing in every single way. And I'm going to stamp this right over top. Okay. And then we will add some splatters to this layer using, we're going to use Cajun, and I think I'm going to use, this is the dark brown. Okay, so blending brush, not a blending brush, but a bone folder. And I'm kind of sweeping my splatters. Gosh, I wish you could see them. But they're just kind of going up in this corner here. I'm not hitting everywhere. So that was Cajun Craze. And here's the SU, this is the darkest one. SU 100? Maybe it's not quite the darkest. And so I'm going to do this one a little more sparing. But I got just a few darker ones that are bigger too, right in there. Just what I'm looking for. So really try that splattering with your bone folder. It really actually, it creates a nice, soft, subtle look. Okay, this just glues on the inside. Easy, easy. And that finishes card number 2. Ta-da! Just like that. And if you want to put some gems on the inside, you could. You have plenty. Okay, how's that? Whoops, I bent my leaf. Maybe need to glue more of that down. So I think it's super, super pretty, folks. This card, well, I'll show you at the end. So, and this one's kind of, I think I need to run a bone folder across this. There we go. Now it's staying shut. But this leaf isn't glued in, and this is the original card. So hold on while I do a little doctoring here. It's a little funny. Okay, so there you have it. I think it's pretty. I think it's pretty. So there's that. Moving right along, zip zap. Let's get her done. Let's see if we can get it done in 2 hours. Oh, in 10 minutes? I don't think so. Our last card, which to me is a definitely a more wintry feel to things. You know, Jacqueline just said, what a contrast on that one. This one has such a, it's just pretty. And this is a study of blending ivory, beige, you know, this is all neutrals. Do not be afraid to mix very vanilla and whisper white. They work together beautifully. So let's see, what are we going to do here? The first thing for this card, let's do our prep work. Okay, so for our prep work, and let's look at our colors for this card. I'm going to get these out of my way. Other ink pads. We are going to be working in Basic Beige, Wild Wheat, and Pebbled Path. So our card base is Pebbled Path. All right, so that's kind of where we're going to start. Let's just start there. Let's start simple. And let's bring in our folder. And so I really didn't do a lot with this. Just come in here and emboss wherever you like it. So just emboss a fun, cool background. So there's no stamping, no die cutting. We're just using it as an embossing folder. That's plate number 1, folder, and then 4 on top. And I'm going to take my Pebbled Path blending brush. So many pieces. Take my Pebbled Path blending brush, and I'm going to do just like we did on that last card. I just want to give a little something to the edge here. Okay, so knock off those heavier, and then just come in here, and I'm going to really play up the corners. Kind of come around that corner, almost in a circular, and then I'm not quite as, you know, heavy on the top. You can even kind of brush across some of this with what's just left there. You want it to be subtle. Re-ink, knock off, hit your corners. Okay, and I'm just kind of brushing across. Just add that little bit of definition. And now let me show you the difference. So there's just Pebble Path on Pebble Path, or Pebble Path with that blended subtle edge. It just brings it out just a little bit. And I'm going to bring this side out just a little bit more. Okay, that's it with the blending. But yeah, keep that pad nearby. We're going to use it. Let's, because we can, we'll sterilize. And let's glue this to our card base. That way we'll have this just kind of, these two pieces are, you know, together and kind of out of the way so we don't lose anything. So this piece is 4 by 5 1/4, so it's that classic matte size. We'll just set that right on top. Easy, easy, easy. Pretty and easy. Okay, let's dive into these 2 pieces of Very Vanilla. Okay, ooh, I'm glad you like this one. This one actually is pretty easy too. So with the Very Vanilla, we are going to do some stamping. We're going to stamp with Basic Beige, and we're going to be blending on Wild Wheat and Pebbled Path. So we're going to still need our Pebbled Path blending brush. Okay, and we're going to need a blending brush for Wild Wheat. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of prep these. Wild Wheat and Pebbled Path. And for these 2 here, we're going to stamp the large stamp. So we need to clean it because it has it has Pebbled Path. No, pecan pie on it. So let's give it a quick clean. And then we're going to ink it fully up with Basic Beige. But hold on. I got my chamois is a little wet, so I'm just trying to dry it off a little bit. Okay, so here's Basic Beige. Ink the whole thing up. while the stamp is on its back, let's blend on some wild wheat and just kind of pounce it in places wherever you like. And then pounce on pebbled path, but maybe not quite as, I'm not going to do quite as much pebbled path. Okay, bring in, don't forget your piercing mat. Okay, and we are, let's see, we're going to do this down in the side. Okay. Pretty, 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 super pretty. Okay, I really like how this one's blended. This one's a little bit more, a little harsher, but this blending is super pretty. Okay, let's do it again. Okay, so clean your image just because you have a couple darker colors there that you don't want to put into your basic beige pad. So there's basic beige, wild wheat, and this time, you know, pounce your colors in, you know, not the same spots you did on your other one. Maybe reverse them up a little bit. So there's my wild wheat. Here comes my pebbled path. It's like a little knocking. Who's there? And this one, same spot. Kind of come way down in there. Okay. Oops, I missed right there, but that's totally okay. There are other things that will be covering that up. So I'm going to rough chop this out like we did on our last project because I want to use this vanilla for some other things. So we'll rough chop that out, and then these are going to go through the Stampin' Cut Emboss machine, and they're going to get die cut and embossed at the same time. Okay, so let's do that now. We set up my machine here for the right things. So this is going to be embossing folder. The big die, to me this is the money die in this set. Okay, and then I like to flip it over so I can see what I'm doing. And I'm going to add my leaf. Just hold it in place. Boy, if anybody else has a better way of doing this, I have tried different ways, but this just kind of seems to be my favorite. Okay, so now I'm closing that, and this is getting a number 4 plate on top. Okay, so pretty, you guys. Just look at that. It's pretty. It has just kind of a rich, relaxed feel to it. Okay, here goes the next one. Let me kind of clean this out. You'll want to be sure you clean some of these extra pieces out, just because you don't want to put any more pressure on the folder than what it needs, if you know what I mean. Okay, so let's start this over. Logo side, flip it up, lock on your die. Okay, and it'll set right in there. Then flip it over and align your leaf. Okay, there's that. We'll shut that, run this one through. Ooh, that one got a little tight. Means it was a little crooked sitting in there. Okay, so pretty. All right, now what are we gonna do with these pieces here? We're gonna use them for sure. So first things first, we're going to cut the Band-Aid. So cut yourself one of those and cut yourself the little one. We haven't used the little one just yet. And then I also want you to cut one of the leaves. Okay, so that's what I'm going to put through. At the very end, we'll lay everything out again so you know what you need to cut. So you can see them all. Make sure you have them all. Okay. Now, for the leaf trio, we're going to need 3 sets of the leaf trio. Of course, I said that on the first card and we needed 4, but you do need 3. Okay, so there's that die. There's the little oval. There's the larger one. We're finished with these. Now with this, we are going to poke this out, and I need 2 more of these. And here's what I'm going to do. To make life easy, I'm going to do 1 more on this piece, and then I'll do my last one kind of centered inside this piece, and you'll see why in just a minute. So here goes this one. Okay, so I just need this leaf 1 more time. For 1 more, but like I said, I'm going to do it out of this piece here. I'm going to put it kind of right in the middle, okay? And the reason I'm doing that is because we're going to use this off-cut piece as a stencil. And so if it's just kind of on the side, it makes it a little trickier to stencil with it and not get ink on other things. Okay, we are there, folks. We have our pieces. So let me lay them all out, and then you can take a screenshot if you need to. Okay, so let me get the ink pads out of the way. Here is what you're going to, oh, we're not done with die cuts. We need to do the white. Look how pretty this white is. So we're going to do the leaves. So we have, let's just do, so there's a double, and we're going to do it twice. So we're going to do these two, and then we're going to do them again. And there's my stencil. Okay, so just run these through. Where's my top plate? Okay. Get your brush out again. This is the best. Love it. And I love it when they all come out. Okay. Swoosh that to the side. Same drill. Okay. So we know what's going on Jacqueline's next order. Adhesive sheets. She said she was going to try, but she was out of adhesive sheets. I think I have some of the new ones, but I also think I have a pack of the old stuff too. Okay, I'm running this through. The old stuff was the full 12 by 12 sheets. Okay. Oh, this one doesn't want to let go. Okay, we're going to try and speed things up rather than poking. And the wood grain paper. Oh, interesting. Yeah, you know what? The wood grain paper, it just doesn't look like much in the catalog. You know what, you guys? I'm going to recut my thing just because I want to go back and forth and not have to sit there and poke all those out. Yeah, that wood grain paper, it surprised me. At first I was like, what, really? And then as I started playing with it, I was like, oh no, I see the beauty in this. I was wrong. I see it now. Okay. So do you ever cut a die cut and it just doesn't want to poke out? It's like it must have been sitting in just the wrong spot in the machine where it just didn't get as much pressure. Chris, you don't need the sheet, just use the tearing tape. the exact same way. Oh, so the tear tape isn't, because the tear tape now, I'm thinking of, remember the old red stuff when we used to have the tear tape? Yeah, it is pretty lightweight too. Oh, okay. So just kind of put it where you know you're going to run your, it doesn't have to be your whole paper. You just have to kind of know where it is. Ooh, I'm going to try both. And don't be surprised if you see it in an upcoming class. Total credit goes to Chris. Okay, so now let's lay it out. What do we have here? So we have our two big guys. These are the star of the show, right? And then we have our larger oval. We have 3 of the trio leaves. Okay. And we have our white leaves. I'm like, what else do we have? So we had 2 and 2. Okay, so that's what you're going to need for this one. Then in your kit, I ran through on white. This die here is from Iconic Imagery. So look at this big, huge, fancy label. It's fantastic. So that's there. And then this piece of white that's left over, this is for the inside of your card. And then we have this. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to do a little something here. First, we're going to take, let me turn this over. I hate these sheets. They're so like, it's like, this is just there's too much going on. Let's see. Let's see if we can't find a spot that doesn't seem quite so. Okay, so with what's left on my blending brush here, I'm just going to kind of hit my leaves. That was the wild wheat brush. Here's the pebbled path. Okay, so I'm just adding a skosh of color to these. Just have some fun, zhuzh them up a bit. Okay, so those 3 leaves, that's all the coloring I'm going to do on that. But here's the inside piece of the card. Let me see what Jacqueline says here. Run the die cut in the machine with a piece of parchment paper and foil underneath. Oh, it helps with the cutting and the paper not getting stuck. Yeah, I've not done parchment, but I have done used dryer sheets. That one cracks me up, but that does work for a little while, and then you have to do it again. Okay, so the inside of this card, I told you when we cut one of those out, we were going to use this as a stencil. If you need to, take a Post-it note and cover some of this up. So like right in here, that way I don't accidentally get ink on my card. So I'm just going to start to lay some leaves down and just I'm not even re-inking, folks. I'm just using what's on my brush, and I'm just going to offload my ink like so. The dryer sheet adds gunk to the die. Is that even when it's been used? Yeah, I have not. I've done punches. I've used foil in punches to kind of sharpen them up. Okay, look how fun that is, you guys. Super pretty. So I just kind of, well, I'm going to have to put one there because I just got ink there. Which is kind of where it was needed to go, but maybe not have been exactly where I wanted it to go. Oh, it never ends. Okay. And notice I'm actually not brushing up and down because I don't want to bend that. I'm kind of going with it in that direction. And I'm going to do, didn't get it all the way to the edge. Do one more like right in there. Get that one to the edge. There we go. I got a little bit extra right there. Oh, well. Okay, so there's the inside. And then I actually even took and I offloaded. This is my wild wheat. So rather than splattering, I'm just giving a little bit of a haze to the edges and everything. all right? Using what is in my brushes without loading any more ink onto it. Okay, the last tiny little bit of stamping that we need to do, and then we'll assemble, is I need to stamp "Here for You" and a little note to brighten your day. So those are pretty easy. They're going to be on the vanilla pieces here, and we're going to do those in Pebbled Path. So here's Pebbled Path. Had to make sure it was Pebbled Path. Okay, a little note to brighten your day. That's a nice greeting, I think. You are welcome, Jolinda. I'm almost done. I'm going to assemble this one, and we will be finished. Okay, there's a little note to brighten your day. And then this tiny little one, "Here for You." I like that they included this little piece here. So this little greeting fits right in there. Cute. Okay, let's assemble. Let me close my ink pads before I set something in them, if you know what I mean. Last one to close. Okay. We have all of our stuff prepped. We're ready to go. Let's put her together. Okay, so we're going to start with the big leaves here. And so this one is actually going to, and I'm going to clip the stem off just so it doesn't hang out the bottom at all. But this one kind of reaches over across like that. And then this one is going to kind of come down. It's kind of like it's swooping, all right? It's going to come across that way. Let me pull this one up just a little bit. So I am going to actually attach these. I'm going to do something, I've done this before. Let me clip this end off as well. But what I like to do sometimes to help with bulk is there are dimensionals in here, but I'm going to glue this area down that's in the center, but I'm going to put dimensionals on the tips, okay? So we'll just kind of turn these over, and I'm going to use minis again on these tips. So glue the center of the leaves, dimensional the tips. And it'll help remove some of that bulk where we're going to be doing some layering. Okay. So let me hold these together because I kind of liked the way they were. And put a little glue back there. Glue on this one, glue on this one. And we'll set these down. I should just glue that inside piece so I'm done with it. Okay. Okay, so I'm just attaching the centers right now. I'll pull those other dimensionals backings off once I have everything layered inside. Okay, so next layer is actually going to be our linen thread. So you have one last piece of lemon lolly linen thread. And I'm going to take this apart because I want it to be stringy. So just untwist until you can kind of catch a thread or two. And don't pull them apart, but I want you to pull them. Pull one vertically and pull down on the other. And I'm just kind of sliding these little sections down so that things don't knot up. But just bring them apart vertically rather than trying to pull them apart horizontally. You know, pull them apart that way, they're just going to knot up on themselves. Okay, so I'm going to do that. You don't have to do all of them, but as you start to do more, they go really fast. See, so I did those two pretty quick. Here's another one. Kind of just put them, layer them back together. And I'm going to do a faux bow, you guys. I'm not even going to do a real bow. I'm just going to kind of hold it in a bow and glue it down. Okay, so here are my pieces. They don't have to be perfectly aligned, just close. And so just wrap it around your fingers. Okay, they got all bunchy. Hold on. So wrap it around your fingers. Just kind of make some nice big loops here. And see, I'm not even tying it. I'm just going to kind of pinch it together. Okay, pinch it together. And I'm just going to do a little bit of Seal Plus right there so that I can just kind of lay these down. Okay, just kind of wiggle the fibers into the Seal Plus. And then we can kind of, separate these and trim those as we need to at the end. Okay, next layer is our iconic imagery. Okay, and I'm going to glue this one just to help with the bulk. And this is going to go all the way over to the side, kind of a different type of layout. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and now I can start to peel these back. Stick those down. Okay. A couple more of them. So, what is the funniest place you have found dimensional covers? Just curious. Where's the, you're like, oh, these are everywhere. You see them everywhere. I have to tell you, I was cleaning. We were doing a deep cleaning of the kitchen at our church the other day. And I found one as I was sweeping in there. And I thought, how the heck did that get here? Unless it came in like on my shoes or something. I just thought, really? In the kitchen at church? Okay, so we're getting close. I'm going to put this one on. Okay, and I'm going to leave the center undone for just a minute. You dropped dimensionals on your cat who ran off. It took me a while to get them out of his fur. What was it, an open sheet? Yeah, I've had dogs come up to me and have them in their beard. I'm like, oh, that's cute. You've been hanging out with me today. Oh, I just don't know how they got to church. I'm like, what? How did it get here? I mean, it was under the refrigerator. Okay, so I put that one on with a dimensional, kind of like we did the other cards. Just because once you find something that works, I'm just going to keep doing it, right? Okay, so there's one there. It's a mini. And this one's going to kind of tuck in here. And I'm not going to push down too hard because I can see I've got a leaf that needs to go there. And the last one is going to come over here to this one side. I'm going to turn this one so it has a completely different angle. To about right there. Okay, here go the white ones. Let's do a double. Gosh, these dies are so pretty. Super pretty. And this actually goes under. So let's get some glue. Because this is where you're going to get tangled up in your linen thread, your baker's twine threads. You dropped dimensionals on your cat. Meow. Okay. Get all the way under there. I knew I was going to get tangled up in my little twine there. Okay, there's that one. This is a single. Now this one is interesting because it's not going to go under this. It's actually going to go under the iconic die. This is where I've got that one. So, just slide that one in there. I really like this color combination. Okay, this one here, we're going to cut apart. And I'm going to do the big in here. Whoops, a little too far. And we'll do the white, the smaller one right in there. And because I have an extra, I'm going to play with one. We do have one extra if we want to do one kind of in there. And I don't have that on my original, but I have one, so I'm going to do it anyway. Add white leaves. How's that? Add white pretty glimmer leaves. All 3 color combos. Did you, my thought process, sometimes it comes across and sometimes it doesn't, was that we needed to change the leaves. So this is why this one to me has a more wintry feeling to it. So that's why. Those were the reasons. And I do have just a few more cards to show you. If you want to hang around, I have a couple more. Okay. And this one isn't in my original, but I'm going to do it anyway, because I have it here. Just added that one. Okay, so let's do our inside, and then we'll do our gems. What do you think about those gems, folks? Pretty cool. I'm like, how had I missed these? I love that they're not very, that they have a nice low profile, and the colors are very usable. I achieved my goal with honors. Jacqueline, you make me laugh. Okay, and this I did put on with dimensional, so I'm just going to do one right in the middle. Ta-da! And it's just kind of tucked right up in here, just kind of, you know, echoing where that's going to go. Then let's go to our gems. And I've used the yellow, but you could also use kind of the I'm not even sure what these 2 colors are because they don't say the colors on them anymore. Anyhow, we're going to use this more lemony color. How's that? And I'm going to do some on the inside. I don't always put gems on the inside, but I thought, hey, why not? So I'm going to do a small there. And I'm going to do a large. And my large, I'm going to tuck and hide kind of right in there. Okay, bum bum. And then it looks like I have one more down here. And it's a large. Okay, that way we have them kind of 1, 2, 3. There's the inside finished. And then the outside, I have gems. Oh, okay. This is what's really pretty, is mostly they're just hidden right in here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I have a 5th one right there. So let's do a big guy, kind of right in here. These are almost like if these were berries on poinsettias, you know, on the inside, but it's not. It's kind of where my brain went. So there's a second one kind of right by it. And another one tucked in here, but I want to make sure it's lower than this one. So maybe I'll bring it down just a little bit, or maybe I'll bring it higher. I don't know. Because see, I don't want it straight across. Okay, there's that one. I'm kind of not liking where it's landing, but that's okay. I'll fix it later. That's what I say all the time. I really do fix them later. There's this one, kind of diagonal across, and then one more right up in there, and it's a big one. I like to hide the big ones. Okay, there it is. We did it. 24 minutes over time. Not too bad. There's card number 3. Whoa. Tandra, lemon lolly and peach pie. Oh, lemon lolly and peach pie. That makes sense. Melon mambo and lemon lime twist. Aha. Peach pie. That's what I couldn't figure out. Oh, you're a lifesaver. I love it. Okay, so let's just go real fast. Here was our winter. Here's fall. And here's late summer. So our leaves have definitely changed. And we'll have to see how things change in the next few weeks as we come into fall. Let me show you just a few more that I have here. I have a couple simpler ones. And these also feature more of the wood textured paper. There's that wood grain. You can see it right there. And so this, we did the smooshing technique. All right. Just the colors were different. And we didn't, embellish emboss the die. It's just the wood grain paper. This was designed by Janie Backer. So that was fun. I really liked that one. Rose says it's annoying that they don't put the colors on. I know. Okay. This one here is more of the wood grain paper with the leaf ball 3D folder. And another mix of the basic beige and the white, kind of pretty. Okay. And here's another one. So these three kind of all go together. This is more of that wood grain paper with lots of splattering on it. Don't know if you can see that. And of course, these are all painted big time with Wink of Stella. And then these two are from my artisan post last Friday. So this one, I don't know if you can see it, but the circle on this one's kind of hiding, but there's a repetition of the 4 circles going across the back, and they base everything in. And this is the same kind of smooshing technique that I did. And then this one here, this is my favorite. This one inspired this card here. And so the smooshing on this, slightly different colors, but again, using the dies. So whether I used the circle die to repeat that 4 times to create a fun background, or the Band-Aid die. So what is that? 5 times coming across on this one. So look at your dies differently. They don't have to just be for, showing off a greeting. They're perfect for creating backdrops as well. So pretty stuff, pretty stuff. I'm so glad you hung out with me today, and I look forward to stamping again in the future. Any questions, give a holler. If not, I'll catch you later, and thanks for being here. Bye-bye.